lips framed nicely by just the hint of a mustache. But it was his eyes that had caused Tiffany's breath to catch. The deepest brown she'd ever seen, especially set against flawless skin that not only looked the color of maple syrup, but she imagined tasted as sweet. This information was absorbed and processed in the seconds it took the man 2 people in front of her to put his carry-on in the overhead bin and step aside so the people behind him could continue. The stranger had glanced up at her. Their eyes had held for a moment. Had she imagined his giving her a quick once-over before he resumed reading his magazine? Tiffany tilted back her seat and placed Tuffy on her lap. Perhaps it was the medication, or the lack of sleep the prior night, but Tiffany welcomed what she hoped would be a long slumber that would take her over the Atlantic, all the way up to the landing in Rome. If she was lucky, she thought, she'd wake up with just enough time to pull her seat forward and place her tray table back in its upright and locked position. And if she was sleeping, she wouldn't be thinking about how much she hated flying. And she especially would not be thinking about Mr. First Class. She knew she was kidding herself to think she made any kind of impression as she passed by the sexy stranger. How could she? Dressed in jeans, a baby fat t-shirt, and clutching a tattered teddy bear. No need to sit here fantasizing. If I'm going to dream, might as well do it in my sleep. Dominick Rollins, or Nick as he was known to his friends, put down the magazine and picked up his drink. After staring at the same page for over 5 minutes, he realized he wasn't reading it anyway. For some inexplicable reason, his mind kept wandering to the woman back in coach, the sexy siren who'd passed him clutching a teddy bear as if she were 5 instead of the 20-something she looked. His guess was that she was afraid of flying, and the toy was some type of childhood relic, like a security blanket. But to carry it openly, in public, holding it as if it were a lifeline? Too bad, because that chick is fine as chilled wine in the summertime. Nick appreciated the stranger's natural beauty, but he liked his women successful and secure. Not that he was looking for women on this trip, he reminded himself. He wanted a carefree few days without any complications. Nick knew all too well that when it came to the words woman and complication, one rarely appeared without the other. Her eyes. Nick tilted his seat back and sipped his Manhattan. That was what intrigued him about her. In them was a curious blend of trepidation and intelligence, of anxiety mixed with steely resolve. The combination brought out his chivalrous side. A part of him wanted to walk back to where she was, sit her on his lap and tell her that everything was going to be all right. His rational side quickly shot down that idea. 1, she was a stranger. 2, she'd hardly appreciate being treated like a child, clutched teddy bear notwithstanding. And 3, Nick wasn't in the market for a woman, friend or otherwise, he reminded himself for the second time in as many minutes. He was grateful for his work and the newest acquisition that had helped to take his mind off of Angelica, the woman who dashed his dream of their getting married and having a family together, and broken his heart. Nick signaled the flight attendant for another drink and reached for his iPod. He didn't want to think about Angelica on this trip. He wanted to enjoy this mini vacation in Rome, one of his favorite cities, and dine at Antica Pesa, one of his favorite restaurants, and the inspiration behind the upscale eatery in his newly acquired boutique hotel. Thinking about the quaint 34-room property he and his partners had purchased in Malibu, California, and were transforming into a 21st century masterpiece,